My family ambushed me at dinner to announce my golden sister gets everything in the will despite me financially supporting them for a decade. My parents set down their carving knife and fixed me with a cold stare. You're out of the will. Not a penny for you. Fine, I said, my voice steady as I pushed my plate away. Then don't count on another dollar from me. I stood, the chair scraping loudly, and walked out. That's when their revenge ignited. I adjusted my rearview mirror as I pulled onto I-5, the hum of my Prius cutting through the Seattle drizzle. At 38, I'd carved out a solid life as an architect, award-winning designs, a sleek downtown loft, a quiet pride in my independence. But the call from my mother 2 days ago had rattled me. "We miss you," she'd said, her voice softer than I'd heard in years. "Come to Portland for dinner Friday. Let's fix things." I'd hesitated, thumb hovering over decline. For over a decade, my family, parents Tom and Linda, sister Chloe, and golden child, my sister Emma, had only reached out when their bank accounts ran dry. Still, a flicker of hope tugged at me. Maybe this time they meant it. The 3-hour drive stretched my nerves thin. Portland's familiar streets unfolded, past the craftsman house I'd helped save from foreclosure, past the diner where I'd wired money for Chloe's emergency rent. I parked outside the old family home, its peeling paint a silent testament to my efforts. I grabbed the bottle of Pinot Noir I'd brought, a peace offering, and stepped into the crisp October air. The porch light glowed, promising warmth. I knocked and Linda opened the door, her smile tight but welcoming. "Jackson, you made it." Tom waved from the kitchen, apron on, while Chloe and Emma lounged at the table, scrolling their phones. The smell of roasted chicken filled the air. For a moment, I let myself believe this could be a new start. I set the Pinot Noir on the table, the clink of the bottle against wood blending with the soft chatter. The dining room felt like a time capsule. Same chipped oak table, same faded floral curtains I'd offered to replace years ago. Tom carved the chicken, steam rising, while Linda passed mashed potatoes. Chloe sprawled in her chair, cracked a joke about Portland's rain, and Emma giggled, her freshly manicured nails catching the light. I smiled, letting the normalcy seep in. I'd almost forgotten how good it felt to sit with them without a crisis looming. Then Emma leaned back, smirking. "So, we've got news. Mom and Dad finalized the will." Her tone was casual but her eyes glinted with something sharp. My fork paused midair. "Oh," I said, glancing at Tom who busied himself with his plate. Linda sipped her water, avoiding my gaze. "Yeah," Emma went on, "the house, the cabin on the coast, the savings, it's all split between me and Chloe." She popped a piece of chicken into her mouth like she'd just commented on the weather. Chloe twirled a strand of hair, her lips curling into a half smile. My stomach dropped. "What about me?" My voice came out quieter than I intended. Linda sighed, setting her glass down. "You've got your career, Jackson. Your firm's doing well. Emma's still finding her footing, and Chloe, well, she's got dreams to chase. They need this more." Tom kept his head down, slicing meat with unnecessary focus. "Need it more," I echoed, heat creeping up my neck. I looked at Chloe, who dropped out of art school after I paid $30,000 in tuition, then at Emma, whose business ideas had burned through another $50,000 of my savings. "You're kidding. Right?" I forced a laugh, waiting for someone to crack, but Emma shrugged, smug as ever. "You're the big shot architect. What's a cabin to you?" Chloe chimed in, "Yeah, Jack, don't be dramatic. It's not like you're hurting." The room tilted. Dramatic? I'd wired them $1,800 every month for years, mortgage, utilities, Emma's car payments, while they treated me like an ATM with a pulse. Tom finally glanced up, his eyes tired but unapologetic. "We figured you'd be fine," he mumbled. I set my fork down, the clatter loud in the sudden silence. The chicken tasted like ash now, the cozy glow of the chandelier mocking me. I'd driven 3 hours for this, a calculated ambush dressed up as family time. My chest tightened, not with sadness, but with a raw, dawning fury. They didn't miss me. They'd lured me here to gloat, to rub my exclusion in my face. I stared at their expectant faces, the trap snapping shut around me. My hands gripped the edge of the table, knuckles whitening as the weight of Emma's words settled like a stone in my gut. The smugness on her face, Chloe's casual smirk, my parents' averted eyes, it was too much. I took a sharp breath, my voice steady but laced with fire. "Let me get this straight. I've poured over $200,000 into this family, mortgage payments, Chloe's art school, Emma's ventures. And you think I don't deserve a dime because I've made it?" Emma snorted, leaning back. "Oh, here we go. St. Jackson keeping a ledger. You're just pissed you can't cash out now." Chloe rolled her eyes, flicking her nails. "Seriously, it's not about money. You're obsessed with it." Linda crossed her arms, her tone sharp. "Family isn't about keeping score, Jackson. We thought you'd understand sacrifice." Tom stayed silent, poking at his potatoes, a coward in his own house. Sacrifice, I laughed bitterly, cutting through the tension. I paid the mortgage when you were 2 months from losing this place. I covered Chloe's tuition when she begged me not to let her dreams die, then she dropped out. Emma, your craft beer startup? $50,000 down the drain because you couldn't bother to show up. I worked overtime, skipped vacations, drained my savings for you, and you call me obsessed? My voice rose, each word a hammer striking nails into their flimsy excuses. Emma smirked, unfazed. You're acting like we held a gun to your head. You wanted to play the hero. Chloe nodded. Yeah. Don't guilt trip us because you're mad now. Linda's face hardened. We did what's best for everyone. You're fine, Jackson. They're not. Tom finally muttered, it's not personal. His voice barely audible. Not personal? I stood, chair scraping the floor, my pulse pounding in my ears. I was your safety net for 12 years. I gave up buying a house, traveling, saving for me, all so you wouldn't drown. And now you sit there, grinning, telling me I don't need it? You don't even see me as family. Just a paycheck you don't owe anything to. My gaze swept the room, landing on each of them. Emma's arrogance, Chloe's entitlement, Linda's cold defiance, Tom's spineless shrug. They weren't sorry. They were smug. I stepped back, the air thick with their indifference. You know what? You're right. I don't need this. My voice turned icy. But neither do you, not from me, anymore. I grabbed my coat, the Pinot Noir untouched. Their stunned silence trailed me like a shadow. This wasn't a family. It was a leech pit, and I was done feeding it. I stormed out of the Portland house, the screen door slamming behind me with a sharp bang that echoed in the quiet night. My breath puffed in the chilly air as I strode to my Prius, keys jangling in my trembling hand. Linda's voice pierced the darkness. If you leave now, don't expect us to take you back. But I didn't turn. I slid into the driver's seat, the leather cold against my thighs, and gripped the wheel until my knuckles ached. The 3-hour drive back to Seattle stretched ahead, but I welcomed it. Distance was my shield now. The highway blurred past, headlights slicing through the dark. My mind churned, Emma's smirk, Chloe's flippant jab, my parents' betrayal, looping like a broken record. I'd been a fool, clinging to the idea that blood meant loyalty. They'd never cared. They just cashed my checks. By the time I pulled into my Seattle loft's garage, exhaustion warred with a simmering rage. I tossed my keys onto the counter, the clatter loud in the empty space, and poured a double shot of whiskey. The burn down my throat matched the fire in my chest. I sank onto the couch, staring at the city lights beyond my window. 12 years of sacrifice, $200,000 plus gone, unacknowledged. Then my phone buzzed. A bank alert. The automatic $1,800 transfer to my parents' account was pending, $1,200 for the mortgage, $600 for utilities and extras. Every month, like clockwork, I'd sent it. No more. I opened the app, my finger hovering over cancel recurring payment. A decade of guilt, obligation, and misplaced hope flashed through me. Linda's teary calls for help. Tom's silent nods. Emma and Chloe's endless emergencies. I hit cancel. The screen flashed successfully terminated. A weight lifted, sharp and sudden, like snapping a chain. The whiskey glass felt heavy in my hand as I leaned back, the silence wrapping around me. I'd expected tears, maybe regret, but instead, a strange calm settled in. I wasn't their son anymore. I was their ATM, and I just shut down the machine. My phone buzzed again. Linda, Jackson, how could you do this? We need to talk. Then, Emma, you're a real piece of work cutting us off. Chloe, selfish much? I silenced the notifications, each ping a fading echo of their entitlement. I stood, pacing to the window. Puget Sound glittered below, indifferent and vast. I'd given them everything, time, money, pieces of myself, and they'd spat on it. The dinner wasn't reconciliation. It was a victory lap for screwing me over. My reflection stared back, tired but resolute. I'm done, I whispered, the words of vow. I downed the last of the whiskey, the burn grounding me. No more late night pleas, no more bailing them out. I'd spent years building their lives while neglecting my own, new furniture, a trip to Iceland, a bigger savings account, all deferred for them. Now that money was mine. I set the glass down, a faint smile tugging at my lips. The void where family once sat ached, but it wasn't loss. It was space, raw and open, waiting for me to fill it. For the first time in years, I felt free. I woke to the gray light of Seattle filtering through my loft's blinds, the calm from last night's decision still lingering. I brewed coffee, savoring the quiet, until my phone jolted me back to reality. Texts piled up. Linda, you're breaking my heart, Jackson. Call me. Emma, you think you can just ditch us? Watch yourself. Chloe, wow. Abandoning family over a will? Pathetic. I deleted them, refusing to let their venom seep in. I'd cut the financial cord. They'd have to figure out the rest. By noon, the harassment escalated. My voicemail overflowed, Linda sobbing about struggling, Tom grumbling about disrespect, Emma threatening vague consequences. I muted my phone, but unease gnawed at me. They weren't done. That evening, a coworker texted, "You see this?" A TikTok link followed. My stomach sank as I clicked. Chloe's voice chirped over a shaky video. "Meet my brother, the rich jerk who ditched us because we didn't kiss his ass." It was clips from an old Zoom call, me venting about their constant demands, edited to make me sound shrill and greedy. Text overlay screamed he cut us off. The video had 50,000 views, comments piling up. What a snob. Families forever, loser. Bet he's rolling in cash while they starve. My face burned, humiliation crashing over me. Clients emailed asking if everything was okay after seeing it. My reputation, hard-earned, pristine, was cracking. I recognized Chloe's petty handiwork, but the public shaming stung deeper than I'd expected. I paced my loft, fury mixing with shame. They couldn't just let me go. They had to drag me down. I screenshot the video, hands shaking, debating a response. But before I could, my phone buzzed again. A notification from my apartment security app. I opened it, rewinding the footage from that afternoon. There, at 2:17 p.m., a figure in a black hoodie limped toward my parking spot. Emma, her uneven gait unmistakable, knelt by my Prius, slashing all 4 tires with a pocket knife. She glanced up, smirking at the camera before sauntering off. My breath caught, rage surging. I checked my car, tires flat, rubber shredded. Repair costs flashed in my mind, $800, maybe more. I saved the footage, my resolve hardening. They'd crossed a line, from guilt trips to vandalism. The next morning, my lawyer, Sarah, called. "Got your email about the video and tires. Bad news, Emma filed a small claims suit yesterday. Claims you owe $50,000 for emotional distress and abandoned support. It's bullshit, but she's playing dirty." My jaw clenched. "She slashed my tires, Sarah. I've got proof." Sarah paused. "Send it over. We'll counter this, defamation, property damage. You've got the upper hand if we move fast." I hung up, staring at the security stills. Emma's smug face taunted me. Emotional distress? I'd bankrolled their lives, $300,000 over 12 years, and they had the gall to sue me? I leaned against the counter, coffee cold in my hand. The TikTok humiliation had hit my pride. The tires and lawsuit aimed at my wallet. They thought I'd cave, overwhelmed by their chaos, but I wasn't the same Jackson who'd driven to Portland with hope. I forwarded the footage to Sarah, then opened my banking app. $1,800 I'd have sent this month now sat in my account. They'd lost their grip, and I'd make damn sure they felt it. This wasn't just backlash. It was war, and I wasn't backing down. I stood in my loft's kitchen, the Seattle skyline muted by a drizzle that matched my mood. The slashed tires sat in my garage, a $900 bill already paid, and Emma's small claims lawsuit loomed like a dark cloud. My lawyer, Sarah, had the security footage and was building a counter case. But the audacity of it, $50,000 for emotional distress, not at me. I'd given them everything, and they turned it into a weapon. My phone stayed silent now, my family's barrage of texts and calls replaced by an eerie quiet. I knew better than to trust it. 2 days later, the storm broke. A process server knocked at my door, handing me a manila envelope. Inside, Emma's lawsuit had ballooned, now a civil claim in Superior Court alleging I'd breached a verbal contract to support the family indefinitely. She demanded $75,000, citing my abrupt withdrawal as the cause of their financial ruin. Attached were affidavits from Linda and Chloe claiming my selfishness had left them destitute. My hands shook as I read. Destitute? I'd paid their mortgage until last month. This wasn't just petty. It was a calculated lie to bleed me dry. Sarah called an hour later, voice tight. "They've got no evidence, but they're banking on you settling to avoid the hassle. Court set for next month unless we push back hard." I paced, fury simmering. Push back. I've got bank statements, $300,000 in transfers over 12 years. They can't rewrite history. Sarah agreed but warned, "This'll cost you. Legal fees could hit $10,000. I swallowed the bitter pill. I'd fight, even if it drained me. That night, the retaliation turned physical again. I woke to a crash outside my loft at 3 a.m., heart pounding. I checked my security feed. A brick lay shattered on my balcony, glass from a sliding door pane glittering in the moonlight. The camera caught Chloe this time, hood up, arm cocked, hurling the brick before sprinting off. My breath hitched, adrenaline spiking. I called the police, who arrived within 20 minutes, a tired officer jotting notes. "Recognize her?" he asked, watching the footage. "My sister," I said, voice flat. He raised an eyebrow but logged it, promising an investigation. Repair estimate, $1,200. Another hit to my savings. By morning, exhaustion battled rage. I sent the new footage to Sarah, who added it to the counterclaim: vandalism, harassment, defamation. This strengthens our case, Sarah said, but they're unhinged. Stay sharp. I nodded, staring at the boarded up balcony door. Unhinged didn't cover it. They'd gone from guilting me to attacking my life, tires, reputation, now my home. I pictured Chloe's sneer, Emma's limp, my parents' crocodile tears in court. They thought I'd buckle under the pressure, that I'd pay to make it stop. I opened my laptop, pulling up the TikTok video, now at 80,000 views, and the flood of hate it had unleashed. Then I checked my bank account. $1,800 from this month's cancelled payment. A small buffer against the mounting costs. I wasn't rich, just stable. Every dollar I'd kept from them was now a lifeline. My jaw tightened. They'd misjudged me. I'd spent years bending for them. But this Jackson, the one they'd pushed too far? I didn't break. I'd fight, not because I wanted revenge, but because I deserved peace. The legal bills stung. The broken glass cut deeper. But I stood firm. They'd started this war. I'd finish it. I sat at my kitchen counter, the boarded up balcony door a stark reminder of Chloe's brick. My laptop glowed with Sarah's latest email: counterclaim filed, defamation, vandalism, harassment. Court date in 3 weeks. We've got them. The bank statements, $300,000 in transfers over 12 years, sat printed beside me, a paper fortress against Emma's lies. The security footage of Chloe and Emma's attacks was uploaded, irrefutable. My savings had taken a hit, $12,000 in legal fees, repairs, and rising, but I wasn't retreating. They'd pushed me into a corner. Now I'd push back. I opened Instagram, fingers hovering over the keyboard. The TikTok video still festered online, painting me as a heartless snob. I'd stayed silent too long. I typed. For 12 years, I paid my family's way, $300,000 for their mortgage, bills, my sister's dreams. They cut me from their will, then smeared me when I stopped. Chloe's viral video? Twisted lies. Emma's lawsuit? Fiction. They vandalized my car, my home. Here's the truth. I attached bank records, screenshots of the slashed tires, the brick incident, redacting just enough for privacy. I hit post, heart pounding. This wasn't for pity. It was to strip their narrative bare. Within hours, the post exploded, 10,000 likes, hundreds of shares. Comments flooded in. You're a saint for lasting that long. They're leeches. Good for you. Stay strong, man. The tide turned. Chloe's TikTok started shedding followers, drowned by backlash. I exhaled, a knot loosening. I'd reclaimed my voice, and they couldn't shout me down anymore. Sarah called the next day. The court's expediting. Your evidence is airtight. Emma's lawyers scrambling. Those affidavits from your parents are falling apart under scrutiny. I smirked. Good. Let them squirm. A week later, the police followed up. Chloe faced misdemeanor charges for the brick, Emma for the tires. The legal news tightened. I pictured them in that Portland house, plotting their next move, oblivious to the hole they dug. My counterclaim hit court first. Sarah dismantled Emma's case in under an hour. Bank records proved my support. Security footage nailed the vandalism, and the Instagram post exposed the defamation. The judge's gavel fell. Emma owed $15,000 for damages, Chloe $5,000 for the balcony. Their lawsuit collapsed, dismissed with prejudice. I walked out of the courthouse, rain slicking my coat, a quiet triumph burning in my chest. They tried to bury me. I buried them instead. Back home, I poured a glass of wine, the loft silent save for the patter of rain. My phone buzzed, a Venmo notification. $20,000 from Tom and Linda, tag settlement. No note, no apology. I stared at it, then transferred it straight to a charity for exploited caregivers. I didn't need their hush money. I needed them gone. The TikTok video faded into obscurity. My clients stopped asking questions, and my life settled. They'd lost their power, and I'd gained mine. For once, the fight felt worth it. I leaned against my newly repaired balcony railing, the Seattle skyline twinkling below as dusk settled in. The court victory still hummed in my veins, Emma and Chloe's fines, their lawsuit shredded, the $20,000 from my parents rerouted to charity. I blocked their numbers after the transfer, severing the last thread. The silence was deafening at first, a void where their demands once echoed, but it morphed into peace. I'd won more than money. I'd won my life back. With the $1,800 monthly drain gone, my bank account breathed again. I signed up for a kayaking class on Lake Union, the paddle slicing through water a balm to my frayed nerves. I bought a canvas and paints, splashing colors late into the night, something I'd never had time for. At work, a coworker, Maya, noticed the shift. You're lighter, she said over coffee. Our chats turned to hikes, then dinners. Maya's quiet warmth a stark contrast to the family I had shed. One evening, Maya's hand brushed mine, and I didn't pull away. I hadn't sought love, but it found me, untainted by expectation. Whispers trickled back through old friends. Linda now bussed tables at a dive bar, her spa days. A memory. Tom hauled lumber at a hardware store, his silence no longer cushioned by my checks. Emma, jobless, hawked her startup ideas online to no-takers. Chloe's Instagram posts, once glossy with borrowed luxury, faded to grainy selfies, her follower count dwindling. They struggled, but I felt no pain. They built their ruin, not me. I stood on the balcony, a mug of tea warming my hands. The legal scars, $12,000 in fees, stung less now, offset by the freedom they'd bought. I'd once driven to Portland chasing a family that never existed, but cutting them loose had unshackled me. Kayaking, painting, Maya's laughter, it was mine, unowed to anyone. The will's exclusion, once a knife, had become a gift, slicing away their hold. I sipped my tea, the city lights a constellation of possibility. They tried to break me, tires, bricks, lies, but I'd risen stronger. I smiled, small but real. Justice wasn't just the court's ruling. It was this, living for myself, finally free. I stood on a windswept bluff overlooking Puget Sound, the late autumn sun casting gold across the waves. A year had passed since that Portland dinner, since the will sting had unraveled my old life. I'd kayaked here with Maya, our laughter bouncing off the water, a thermos of coffee shared on the shore. The memory warmed me more than the drink. I'd once thought family was a fixed star, unshakable, eternal, but mine had been a black hole swallowing my light. Losing it wasn't defeat. It was rebirth. I traced the path back. The shock of exclusion, the fury of their lies, the weight of $300,000 I'd poured into them. The TikTok video, the slashed tires, the brick through my glass. They tried to crush my spirit, not just my wallet, but each blow forged something harder. I'd fought, courtrooms, Instagram posts, police reports, and won. The $20,000 my parents sent wasn't victory. Donating it was. I didn't need their scraps. I'd built my own foundation, brick by brick, with no one else's name on it. Maya's voice broke my reverie. You're quiet today. I turned, smiling. Just thinking. A year ago, I was their doormat. I gestured to the horizon. Now. Maya squeezed my hand. Now you're you. That was it, me, unburdened. No more late-night calls begging for cash. No more guilt trips. I traveled to Iceland last month, stood under the northern lights, my breath stolen by beauty I'd once deferred for them. My loft brimmed with half-finished paintings, each stroke a reclaiming. I'd heard Linda waitress now. Tom hauled lumber. Emma and Chloe floundered, karma's slow grind, but I didn't gloat in it. They'd chosen greed. I'd chosen myself. The betrayal had hurt, a blade to the chest, but it cut me free. Standing here, wind tugging my hair, I saw it clear. Strength wasn't enduring their weight. It was shedding it. Family wasn't blood. It was Maya's steady presence. Friends who asked nothing but my company. I breathed deep, the salt air sharp and clean. I thought love meant sacrifice, but real love lifted, never leashed. The will had been their last play, and it lost them everything. I turned to Maya, the sound stretching endless before us. Let's go home, I said, my voice steady. I was whole, betrayal's forge had made me so.